Collins of New York. Congressman, thanks very much for joining us.
Always good to be with you, Wolf.
President Trump called it a fact. He said it was a fact that President Barack Obama ordered the illegal wiretap of his phones last year at Trump Tower in New York City. The Homeland Security Secretary John Kelly told me last night that President Trump has, quote, got some convincing evidence that took place. But is there evidence at all as far as you know?
And Wolf, I am not on the Intelligence Committee. I do not have any information myself. I'm not privy to FISA court orders and the like. So at this point, I don't know anything more than you or other Americans know. But I do agree there's nothing wrong with putting this, if we're going to investigate the Russian issue related to the campaign, there's nothing wrong with putting this issue as well. Was there interference, surveillance, phone tapping that was directed by the Democrats, by the administration, directed at the campaign? Might as well investigate that as well, because we've also got a lot of other things, as you know, whether it's health care or tax reform to deal with. So I'm fine with doing that investigation.
I know you're not on the Intelligence Committee, but the respective Republican chairmen of the House and Senate Intelligence Committee, they say the same thing. They have seen no evidence that President Obama wiretapped the phones at Trump Tower in New York City. Does that concern you?
Well, whether it's wiretapping or whether it's surveillance or whether it's other kinds of nefarious activities, I guess we need to put them all together and say, let's investigate what did happen, what didn't happen, and see where this goes. So I would expand it beyond the words phone tapping or wiretapping and look at the other issues as well.
Because in his tweets Saturday morning in the White House, as of today, says they're still sticking by those tweets. Let me read a couple of them to you, because the president was firm. Terrible. Just found out that Obama had my wires tapped in Trump Tower just before the victory. Nothing found. This is McCarthyism. A few minutes later, he tweeted, I'd bet a good lawyer could make a great case out of the fact, he used the word fact, that President Obama was tapping my phones in October just prior to election. A few minutes after that, how low has President Obama gone to tap my phones during the very sacred election process? This is Nixon Watergate, bad or a sick guy. Do you believe President Obama did it, that he's a bad or sick guy? Do you agree with President Trump?
Well, if it turns out that he did tap his phones, then absolutely I would agree with that. I don't have the facts, so I really can't have an informed opinion one way or the other, Wolf. Let's let an investigation by the House.
But you don't, with all due respect, Congress, you don't need a congressional investigation. He's the President of the United States. If he has the evidence, within a nanosecond, he can release that evidence, make it public, and show that he's right. He refuses to do so, which suggests he doesn't really have the evidence.
Well, and again, it depends what you mean by evidence. It may be hearsay that someone was explaining that to him. So let's take this where it goes, and it may or may not be true that there was actual wiretapping, and it may or may not be true there was surveillance and other nefarious activities going on by the Democrats.
But the president said it was a fact. He didn't put any ifs, didn't put any qualifiers. He said it was a fact. And that obviously has raised so many questions. The FBI Director James Comey, we're told, is incredulous. How could he do this? The former Director of National Intelligence, Clapper, says it never happened. We're getting denial after denial after denial. The president still refuses to provide any backup to those assertions, and that's causing alarm. You understand that?
Oh, I certainly do understand that. I'm just working away on the health care reform, on the Energy and Commerce Committee, on the Health Subcommittee, and I'm suggesting if we're going to investigate Russia, let's investigate this. Let's see where the investigation goes in both cases. Meanwhile, as you well know, we've got an awful lot of other work on the agenda here in the House.
All right, stand by, Congressman. We have a lot to discuss